Hello, learners. Welcome to Week 7, Section 1. We are doing BEDS 001. Today's lecture will focus on civilization and culture. We have already completed Week 6. Now we are on to Week 7, Section 1, wherein we will be discussing culture, civilization, so on and so forth. As you know, we are doing course BEDS 001, Overview and Perspectives of Values. Let us first discuss what civilization is. When we talk about civilization, civilization is a society which has a government, it has a system of communication, it is highly urbanized, and also it has a very complex system of social stratification and so on. For example, when we talk about great civilization, when we talk about civilization which were world famous, we can talk about the Harappan Civilization, we can talk about Mohenjo-daro and so many other civilizations. And when we talk about the Harappan Civilization, why was Harappan Civilization so famous? Why was Harappan Civilization even talked to in this age and time? Harappan Civilization was very popular and was famous because it had a very good system of town planning. The drainage system was very developed. It had a proper drainage system, and also it had a very good system of governance, and also it had granaries where grains were stored, and it had a very good system of a governance where people were governed properly in this civilization. When we talk about Harappan Civilization, was found in the river Indus. That is why it is also known as Indus Valley Civilization. So this is one very few example of a world famous civilization. When we talk about civilization, we can also talk about Greeks, the Greek civilization, the Roman civilization, and so many others. When we talk about these civilizations, the important features, the important characteristic of these features is that they have a highly developed system of governance, they have a system of communication, they had languages, then they had town planning, it was urbanized, a complex system of social stratification, which means that there was a hierarchy from top to bottom and so on. So this is what is civilization. Now in this class we will be talking about civilization and culture, as I said before. What is culture? Culture is a way of life. It consists of the value system, knowledge, beliefs, social norms, the monuments, the architectural wonders, so many other, which comprises what is called culture. When we talk about culture, culture can be divided into what is called material culture and non-material culture. When we talk about material culture would be the buildings, the monuments, the bridges, the physical objects. For example, in India, India Gate, the Gateway of India, Qutub Minar, all these are material culture. These are physical objects. From these physical objects, we can see how much, what was the cultural influence behind the building of these architectural wonders. Then we have what is called the non-material culture. What are non-material culture? As we said before, material culture are mainly physical objects, the monuments, the bridges, the buildings. And now, what are non-material culture? When we talk about non-material culture would be the beliefs, would be the social norms, the moral codes of conduct, the value system, the knowledge, which are passed on from generation to generation. So Non-material culture and material culture make up what is called culture. So when we talk about civilization and culture, why are we taking civilization and culture in one sentence? Because civilization is a society which has developed culturally, socially and politically. So when we say civilization and culture, it is interrelated, because a civilized society, a civilized state would have a well-developed cultural aspects to it, social aspects to it and political aspects to it. When we talk about the culture of India, the culture of India is one of the oldest cultures in the world. Right from the medieval period, there prevails diverse cultural diversities in forms of dances, languages, religions, people, their customs and festivals. We are known for unity and diversity in spite of so many diversity, in spite of so many diversities in the form of so many languages which are spoken, so many religions, Sikhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, so many customs, so many festivals, but then we are a country which is united in spite of its cultural diversities. We have so many festivals. For example, in the month of March, we will be celebrating Holi. In the month of April, we will be celebrating Good Friday, Easter. In the month of October, November, we will be celebrating Dashera, Diwali. Then in the month of December, we will be celebrating Christmas. And then we have Eid, which comes somewhere in between Holi and Diwali and Dashera. So in spite of so many festivals, in spite of so many religious diversity, we are known to be united in spite of our diversity. This is what makes our country so great and so beautiful, and what it is known for its diversities. And every state of India has its own distinct culture and has carved out its own cultural niche. So in spite of so many states in India who have their own ways of life, who have their own languages, who have their own form of dance, customs, belief system, in spite of these distinct culture, we are closely bound, and this is what makes it a great country. Dating back to over 5,000 years old civilization, India's culture has been adorned by migrating population, which over a period got absorbed into the Indian way of life. This could be called assimilation. You are assimilated into the way of life. You are absorbed into the Indian way of life. We have so many migrant population coming to India, and over a period of time, these migrant population have adopted into the Indian way of life, and that they have got absorbed into the Indian way of life. They have got assimilated into the Indian way of life. This great Indian culture comprises of Indian music, Indian dance, Indian cuisine, costumes and Indian festivals. So when we have so many migrating population who have come to India over a period of time, they have got absorbed into the way of life, and we see that so many of our dance form, music, cuisine, customs, festivals are influenced by the population who have come from outside, and we have made this our Indian way of life. Several cultures form a part of one civilization, claims Von Mason. The Indian civilization includes the culture of the Harappans, Vedic Aryans, Buddhists, Jains, the influence of the cultures of the invaders, the Kushans, the Shakas, the Greeks, Turco-Afghans, the Delhi Sultanate, the Mughals and the British. It is also influenced by Bhaktism, Sufism. The Kushanas under Kanishka introduced the Gandhara school of art, which used Greek art to depict Buddhism. So this is what we call getting absorbed into the Indian way of life. What has become the Indian way of life? The Indian way of life had been influenced by the cultures of the Harappans, the Buddhists, the Jains, then the invaders like the Greeks, the Shakas, the Delhi Sultanate, the Mughals, the British, and also a movement which is called Bhaktism and Sufism. So we have these cultural influence which have become a part of Indian life. When we talk about Islam, Islam was introduced in India by the Arabs in the 8th century AD. It became one of the major religions in India. Hindi, the Indian national language in the Devanagari script, is the product of Sanskrit, a foreign language introduced by Aryans some 3,500 years ago. The Persian language was introduced in India by the Mughals in the 12th century AD that led to the development of the Indian language of Urdu. Apart from these, Christian missionaries also had a profound influence on our educational system. Christian missionaries have especially had influence in the northeast part of India, where a lot of northeast Indians have taken the Christian faith, and because of these Christian missionaries, a lot of them have become Christians. Not only in the northeast India, not only in the aspect of religion, Christian missionaries have also had a profound influence on our educational system, the way we use language, the way we teach, the way our education system is practiced in the schools, and so on and so forth. A lot of influence have been because of the Christian missionaries. So when we talk about our Indian culture, there have been influence by so many others. For example, like we discussed before, Islam was introduced by the Arabs. Then we have Hindi in the Devanagari script, which is a product of Sanskrit, a foreign language introduced by the Aryans. Then we have the Persian language, which was introduced by the Mughals, and which led to the development of the Indian language of Urdu. So many influence which have made up what is called the Indian way of life. Now let us discuss pluralities of identities. What do you mean by pluralities of identities? Identity would mean, what is your identity? Like, for example, my identity is of that an Indian. I am an Indian. When I go outside India, I am an Indian citizen. When I am in India, I can say my identity is that from the northeast, because I belong to the northeast part of India, which is from Manipur. My identity is that of a Manipuri, but I am also an Indian. So when we talk about pluralities of identities, pluralities means you can have so many identities. You can be an Indian, you can be a Christian because of your faith, you can be a Hindu because of your faith, and then you can be from the northeast part of India, or you can be a certain part of India because you belong to this region. So when we talk about plurality of identities, it is very important to discuss or to make children realize that India is a dynamic entity with a lot of diversity. A person need not be characterized by just language, religion, food, but has a plurality of identities. By this we mean that a person can belong to many groups at the same time, each of which is important in the given context. And common to all these identities are the basic human values such as honesty, kindness, unselfishness, etc. So when we talk about plurality of identities, a person can have a lot of identities. A person can have plurality of identities. When we say pluralities, it means more than one. So a person can have more than one identities. For example, I am from the northeast. I practice a particular faith. I am a mother, I am a teacher, I am a wife, and so on and so forth. And what is common to all the identities, what is common to all the plurality of identities are our basic human values such as honesty, kindness, unselfishness, hardworking, perseverance, and so on. These are common to all identities, and these are what is called the basic human values, which makes us a better citizen of the country and a better person, a better human being. As Amartya Sen says, history and background are not the only way of seeing ourselves and the groups to which we belong. There are a great varieties of categories to which we simultaneously belong. I can be at the same time an Asian, an Indian citizen, a Bengali with a Bangladeshi ancestry, an American or British resident, an economist, a dabbler in philosophy, an author, a Sanskritist, a strong believer in secularism and democracy, a man with a non-religious lifestyle from a Hindu background. So these are example of what is called plurality of identities. Like Amartya Sen said, you can be an Asian, an Indian citizen, a Bengali with a Bangladeshi ancestry. You can be a British resident, an economist, a non-religious person, a non-religious man from a certain religious background. So this is what is called plurality of identities. In the Indian culture, a mother is very significant. She may be a Malayali Christian married to a Hindu living in Bengal. She may be a Hindu married to a Muslim settled in Tamil Nadu. Yet her identity is based on Indian traditions. She will bring up her children according to the values of her family, culture and tradition. She would want them, for example, if she is a Hindu, she would want them to be honest like Yudhishthir was in the Mahabharata. She will encourage her children to respect elders. She will ask them to recognize goal within all, and she would teach them to say namaskar, that is a way of paying respect to others. She will teach them cleanliness and hygiene, especially in preparation for prayer. So in Indian culture, the role of mother is very significant. She is the one who nurtures the children because in a lot of households, a lot of Indian society, the man is the bread earner. He is the one who goes out and earn livelihood for the family. Yes, in a lot of cases, in a lot of societies, the woman also does, but in majority of the cases it is the men. So you have the Indian mother who plays a very important role. She has a very significant role. She is the one who nurtures her children, who brings up her children according to the values according to the values and tradition and culture of what has been taught to her from generation to generation. She would nurture her children. She would tell her children to respect others. She would tell others to be friendly to others, to be a good human being, to be a good citizen. She would also teach her children other good ways of life like cleanliness, hygiene, and also how to be a devout person of religion. These are all a very important role that a mother teaches her children. So a mother's role is very significant. And also when we talk about mother, the role of teachers is also very important, because in the previous classes we have talked about how important the role of teachers is, because it is the teachers who, from the time a child goes into the formal education system up to higher secondary, which takes about more than 10 years, the role of the teachers is very important, because the children see the teachers, how they behave. They mold their behavior according to the teachers. And so the teachers have a very important role to play in the development of the students. Teacher can assist the children in recognizing and developing an awareness of the different groups to which the students may belong. At the same time, teachers should help them recognize that underlying all the different groups is a basic human values, unity of human values that represent one great nation. Which means that the teacher can explain and can help the students in appreciating the diversity of culture. In a school setup, you have students, you have children who come from diverse background, they come from various regions, they practice different religion, they have different ways of life, they have different cuisines, then they speak different languages. So to appreciate this diversity, to appreciate the culture, this distinct culture, the teacher has a very important role to play in helping the children in recognizing and developing an awareness and sensitizing the children to the other children who belong to diverse groups. So it is up to the teachers to help the children appreciate the diverse group of children. The students should be made aware of the duties and the responsibility as student member of a school, college, university, as member of a family, community, religion, linguistic group, geographical region, having its own music, art, dance, literature. So it simply means that you appreciate the culture of others, you appreciate for the uniqueness of others' culture, you are sensitive towards other culture, because what your culture is may be different from the other culture, but the beauty should be that the different children who belong to different culture should be united and they should appreciate each other culture. Each aspect of culture should be appreciated and celebrated through different activities as concerts, dramas, debates, discussion, poster preparation and presentation. So this is a very wonderful activity. This is a very good activity for the teachers to help students appreciate each other culture in the form of organizing activities like concerts. Maybe it could be a musical concert, it could be dramas, appreciating and showcasing different cultures of different parts of India, debates, poster preparation and discussion. And also there can be an informal musical concert or program of different dances. And students can also have an exhibition of different crafts and costumes. You have a lot of children belonging to the northeast part of India, from the southern part of India, and they have so many beautiful costumes. So to make other children who do not come from these part of the region, they can organize exhibition to showcase their different crafts and costumes, to make them aware that these are the rich cultural heritage of these part of the country. And also an informal concert of songs could also be organized. Therefore, when we talk about identity, who am I? What is my identity? So it is through these concerts, discussion, preparation that your identity who am I, this identity can come out, it can be reflected. And also identities together create an individual along with one's personal traits, likes, dislikes, values and beliefs. So in today's class, we have discussed what is civilization, what is culture, what is pluralities of identities. With this, I have completed week 7, section 1. Thank you so much.